Well, I am back. It's story time again. This is a special story. It's called Love You Forever. The first time Yanni read this book, I was at the Christian bookstore and I read it and I cried. I took it off the shelf and I read it and I cried. And I left the store and forgot to pay for it. I walked right out with it. I went back the next day and told them they knew I'd be back. But I was just so touched. It's just a good story. This story is called Love You Forever. It's written by Robert Munch and illustrated by Sheila McGraw. She did all the pictures. Robert wrote the story. And it's about a mama who has a baby. And through this story, you need to watch because mama, when she has this baby, is young. And as the story goes on, it talks about the little boy growing up. If you'll look at the picture of the mom, she gets older too. Okay. First time I didn't notice that. But anyway, here is the story. It's called Love You Forever. A mother held her new baby and very slowly rocked him back and forth and back and forth. And while she held him, she sang a song. I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. Well, here we go. That baby grew. He grew and he grew and he grew. He grew until he was 2 years old and he ran all around the house. He pulled all the books off of the bookshelf and he pulled all the food out of the refrigerator. And he took his mother's watch and flushed it down the toilet. Sometimes this mother would say, "Oh, this kid is just driving me crazy." And he made the mess in the bathroom. But at nighttime, when that 2-year-old was quiet, she opened up the door to his room. She crawled across the floor, looked up over the side of his bed, and if he was really asleep, she picked him up and she rocked him back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth. And while she rocked him, she sang, I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. See how he's gotten older? Well, that little boy grew. He grew and he grew and he grew. He grew until he was 9 years old, and he never wanted to come in for dinner. He never wanted to take a bath. And when Grandma came over to visit, he always said bad words. Sometimes his mother wanted to sell him to the zoo like he was an animal. But at nighttime, when he was asleep, the mother quietly opened the door to his room and crawled across the floor and looked up over the side of his bed. If he was really asleep, she picked up that 9-year-old boy and she rocked him back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And while she rocked him, she sang, I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. All right, that boy grew. He grew and he grew and he grew. He grew until he was a teenager. He had strange friends and he wore strange clothes and he listened to strange music. Sometimes the mother felt like she was in a zoo. Remember before she wanted to sell him to the zoo? Now she feels like she's in the zoo. But at nighttime, when that teenager was asleep, the mother opened the door quietly to his room. She crawled across the floor and looked up over the side of the bed. If he was really asleep, that mother picked up that great big boy and she rocked him back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And while she rocked him, she sang, I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. See how Mama's getting older? Look at her hair. So you can tell she's getting older. She's got glasses now. That teenager grew. He grew and he grew and he grew. He grew until he was a grown up man. He left home, he moved out, and got a home across town. But sometimes on dark nights, the mother got into her car and drove across town. Do you know where she's going, you think? If all the lights in her son's house were out, she opened his bedroom door. She crawled across the floor. She looked up over the side of his bed. If that great big man was really asleep, that mother picked him up into her arms and rocked that man back and forth, back and forth, and back and forth. And while she rocked him back and forth, she sang, I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. Because even though he's a big man now, he is still her baby. Well, that mother, she got older too. She got older and older and older. One day she called up her son and said, Son, you better come see me because I'm very old and I'm sick. So her son came to see her. When he came in the door, she tried to sing the song. She sang, I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. But she couldn't finish because she too was old and sick. That son went over to his mother. He picked her up and he rocked her back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And he sang this song to her. I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my mommy you will be. When the son came home that night, he stood for a long time at the top of his stairs. He knew his mom was old and sick. Then he went into the room where his very own new baby daughter was sleeping. He picked her up in his arms, and very slowly he rocked her back and forth, and back and forth, and back and forth. And while he rocked her, he sang, I'll love you forever. I'll like you for always. As long as I'm living, my baby you'll be. And that is the end of that story. That book made Granny cry. Kids all laugh every time they hear about the little boy putting his mama's watch down the toilet and saying bad words in front of grandmama when she come over. But that is just a good story. It's a fun story because we all grow up and get older. And even though you get bigger, you might get married and have babies. You're still going to be my grandbaby. All right. Danny loves you so much. Thank you for story time. I hope you like that book. And I hope so far that you've picked out a couple of favorites that you might like to listen to again and again. This is for you. And when you get older and have babies, you'll be able to show them Yanny's reading bedtime stories. And maybe you will let them have time to listen. Have a good night. Sweet dreams. Yanny loves you so very much.